Baby, oh baby, what is happening out there, Bay Area? It is a little wet, so drive safely on those roadways. Good morning to all the graveyard shift workers getting off your graveyard shift, the garbage men, the janitors, the carpenters, the security guards, the ushers. I can't wait to see you at Chase Center tonight. The parking attendants, you know who you are out there at Chase Center. Good morning to the cops, the students, all the teachers doing the damn thing. I have a I already respect the teachers, but now that baby Ches is going to Montessori school, I have a deeper appreciation for them because she's not an easy person to deal with, especially in the morning. So good morning to everybody out there as we talk on the Warriors Wednesday. A Warriors Wednesday brought to you by Freedman's Appliance, a trusted name since 1922. Visit freedmansappliance.com today. Shout out to YouTube and Twitch, the Comcast Business Text Line. You guys have been awesome all week. You guys are awesome every day, but especially this week. You guys have been bringing it some more, all the heat as we shift to the Warriors as they have a game. We will get into the Niners, though, 8:30. We're going to get into the Niners because they are rolling right now. They look like the most complete team in football. We'll do that at 8:30, but right now we're rolling on the Warriors because they do host the Portland Trail Blazers today. They've been off for 3 days, and we haven't gotten it to them after they blew the 22-point lead Saturday afternoon in L.A. And I can't wait for the Clippers to get their own arena. Saturday afternoon NBA games in L.A. It's just not a smart idea.
I don't understand why they did it.
But they do it because they share the arena. So they've had the Lakers play at night and the Clippers played.
So that was the reason why.
Yeah, they do that. And that's why they've been doing it for years.
I mean, how many have there been, like 3 Warrior 1 o'clock games?
Just the Warriors.
I'm talking about the Warriors.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
It was just odd. It's just an odd start on the Saturday afternoon. But on the flip side, you do get the night off early, get to enjoy a night out in L.A. or a night out in the Bay Area after the Warriors game. But they do lose, so let's get Anthony Slater. Don't forget, first 10,000 fans who attend Chase Center tonight will get a Draymond Green bobblehead. But, Anthony, can you believe it as we say good morning to you? Hopefully you had a great holiday, had a great time in L.A. Saturday. I can't believe somebody stole our Draymond Green bobblehead here in the studio. We had the talking Draymond Green bobblehead, and one of these hosts walked out with it.
Stole it? Was it the one that's being given out tonight? You guys got like an advanced copy?
Yeah, I know you get the advanced copy, Slater. Come on now.
Well, first of all, I didn't get this one. I'll get one tonight. But what is the version tonight? You said it was talking?
Yeah, it was like you press a button, it goes, Dub Nation, let's go!
I thought it said absolutely incredible.
Dub Nation, let's go! And he's got a headset on, and he's got the blazer over the uniform. It's actually a cool-looking bobblehead.
Okay. I was wondering if he had like the podcast mic. Is there a Draymond Green podcast show logo on it?
No, it does not have the podcast Draymond Green. By the way, when is that coming back?
He hinted it soon, but, I don't know what soon is.
You should tell him that his first guest should be Dre Greenlaw.
Okay. Sure. Just to talk about the Big Dom situation, I am curious to get his thoughts on that.
I mean, it takes one to know one, and we're now calling Dre Greenlaw Draymond Greenlaw.
Okay. All right. Well, you seem fired up. You seem back in on the Draymond experience.
I'm here for the memes.
I never know every week. I never know.
You never know. Yeah, I don't know every day.
That's the experience.
Yeah, sometimes the experience can go down a long, curvy road and lead into nowhere. But, where's this Warriors season going? We were just having a discussion 20 games in. They're 9-11. They blew 2 20-point leads on the road last week, 22 to the Clippers on Saturday. Where are you at with this team through 20 games later?
Oh, man. I don't know. To me, the court product's a little reminiscent of last season. They're talking about the fouls and the turnovers being an issue. They're, kind of in the middle muck of this crowded Western Conference like they were last year. They don't seem significantly worse than a lot of the teams around them, but they certainly don't seem like they're going to, rattle off, a 13 out of 15 wins or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see if there's big personnel changes down the road. To me, that's more of a January, February question. But if currently constructed, to me, they just seem like they're going to try to muscle their way into the 5th, 6th range and try to be a dangerous, playoff opponent. And kind of like they were last year. Better court chemistry, but to me, is the court product very much better? Not really.
Slater, real quick, Yogi Berra did say one time, it gets late early out there. And what I mean by that, and I think Yogi Berra, you could apply this to this situation, you wait too long to make a deal, you may be too far out of the race in the Western Conference. You may sneak into the play-in, but that's a tough road to navigate through. You know what I'm saying? They may have to make a decision in January or the end of this month
I don't necessarily agree as far as standings wise if we're just talking about getting to the fifth, sixth, right? If you think this team had the capability of being like a 1-2 seed, like it's late early, but it was probably late opening night for this team to be a 1-2 seed. I just looked right now. The Mavs and Kings are 5-6 right now at 11-8. That's 3 losses behind, not even a quarter into the season. So, they do have a favorable stretch coming up. They've kind of targeted, not only obviously they play tonight against it. This is, again, you don't want to label anything a must win, but you should take care of the Blazers at home tonight. A lot of home games over the next month or so. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys feel differently about the West, but I do feel like if you win 7 of 10, you're probably climbing up because everybody else is losing, once or twice a week.
Right.
They win 7 out of 10. I'm ready to throw a parade.
No, don't do that.
I'm teasing.
By the way, they won 6 of 8 to start the year. How long ago does that feel?
It feels like forever ago. It feels like 5-game suspensions ago. But no, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm saying that their top dog has not executed in the fourth quarter. Steph Curry, right? There's a variety of reasons why. They're blitzing him like crazy. What do you make of his assist-to-turnover ratio being the worst in his career, though, this year?
The assists are down. He's mentioned this because they got Chris Paul. Chris Paul just kind of eats at the assist, which is fine. I mean, I'm full dependent on, I guess, your perspective. But, he takes the ball out of Steph's hands more. So I think that's why the assist to turnover. Because, I don't know, do you have the stats up? The turnovers don't seem abnormal. Like, it's just regular Steph Curry turnovers. I just think his assists are way down. Well,
what about the situational, end of the game execution? Because that does feel, again, I'm going off eyeballs as well here. It feels a little off.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Sacramento game was just ghastly. That turnover he made when they double teamed him, that was just a horrible pass, a horrible read by him. But also, it was, bad press break from a 5-man perspective. As far as it, to me, this is a 2-season thing, right? Remember how many late game scenarios was it last year? And sometimes that was Steph. I can remember, the hero ball in Charlotte that he blamed himself for. Or, various ones. How about the timeout that they didn't have in the King series? Remember that one?
Yep.
So, again, I think that is the least of their worries on the team, right? It's just Steph Curry's play in general. I think that's the one thing. I think over the course of the season you can bank on it. But, look, if he hits an 18-footer in L.A. or just, a floater over Kawhi Leonard or just does something else in the last possession, they get some points, they win, and they're 10-10, and we're talking probably a little differently about them this morning.
Yeah, Steph Curry, 64 turnovers on the season, just 84 assists. 84 assists for Steph on the season. So I get your point, though, Anthony. Chris Paul does have the ball in his hands a lot. Hell, even Brandon Podziemski, and then you think about the half court and Draymond Green, he has the ball in his hands as well. So Anthony Slater here, our 95.7 Game Insider, does a great job covering the Golden State Warriors for The Athletic. Injury report real quick for Portland. DeAndre Ayton, doubtful with right knee soreness. Jeremy Grant, out due to concussion protocol. Anthony Simons, questionable. So this has got to be a got-to-have-it game. You got to win this game no matter what and get ready for OKC on Friday. But looking at the rotations here, Chris Paul and Wiggins will be back. What does that mean for Moody, Kuminga, and Podziemski? Because it does feel like at some point Curry will have to shorten his rotation, Anthony.
Yeah, there's rotation questions. Now, Gary Payton being out for kind of the foreseeable future, to me at least, makes it so you don't have to DNP Moody and Podziemski necessarily, but how are fans going to feel if Moody gets 12 minutes and Podziemski gets 8 or something like that tonight? I don't know, but you can't, if you are a 9th, 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th man in the NBA rotation, you don't play that much. And that's what those guys are profiled to be. Maybe there's ways Kirk can be a little bit more creative with it, suppress the Wiggins, Paul, Klay Thompson minutes down into the 20s. And he has said, depending on hot hand, he sounds like he's willing to be a little bit more flexible with closing lineups, things like that. So we'll see. But that's the trouble with this team is they feel thin up top, right? You're sitting there who is Steph Curry's number 2 on this team? But they're almost too, you don't want to say too deep, but everyone feels so even, but, roster spots.
Redundant is the word I would use. There's a lot of redundancy, positional redundancy, depth chart, where they line up on the depth chart in terms of importance redundancy. I guess that brings me to Moses Moody. What do you do with Moses Moody here? Do you just say, hey, we're going to close with Moses Moody for a couple of weeks here? Like, I want to see him get some consistent run to finish games. Would you be willing? Forget what Steve Kerr's going to do. Is that something that you think would help this team?
I think, again, with closing, I think you play the game. What if Clay's hot tonight? If Clay just has like a hot night, but he's been shooting pretty good lately.
Last 7, Anthony, 40% from 3, 19 points. Come on.
See the graphic tonight, I'm sure.
No, because you know what, Anthony, man, it's kind of drives me crazy. And I got no problem with criticism whatsoever. Clay, I thought he should have been benched in the last 40-26 against Sacramento. There's no doubt. I thought Moody deserved it. He was 1 of 5 in the second half, 3 points. He was clunky. It wasn't good for him. But let's be fair. Let's not just crush a guy. Let's give him some credit when credit is due. And he deserves some credit for the last 7, Anthony. Klay Thompson, that is.
Yeah, no, he's playing better. And there's been pockets of the game where he's kind of rescued them. I think the third quarter in LA on Saturday. I mean, they don't win the game, but if they do win the game, you look at that third quarter where he hit like 2 straight big jumpers to kind of like give them life heading into the fourth. You guys can remember that 10-point surge he had to start the fourth, the game before that against the Clippers. So he's been shooting it better. I mean, and I agree. Like, I think he's trending well. If Wiggins comes back and looks like he did before the finger injury, he had been trending well. To Shasky's question about Moody, though, they do script the rotations pregame. Chris Weems is over there with his iPad. It's all scripted out. What I would do is like get Moody in earlier and give him longer runs. And if he is playing well, then you talk about closing with him. But I think it's unwise, especially with this team, to go into the game knowing who you're closing on.
Right.
Like, you need to adjust game to game, I think, with that.
What about Kuminga? It sure feels like he's had a lava lamp-like run here where I just don't know what to make of him. Like, one night he looks awesome, and then for 2 or 3 nights in a row he looks completely lost and unplayable. What's the best course of action regarding Kuminga?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tougher when everyone's healthy. I think he's the guy that just gets squeezed because some of the combinations are difficult to put him out there. I mean, we could talk about the front court. I think one of the biggest rotation questions heading into tonight and beyond is, like, do you keep starting Looney and Draymond together? Does Sarge start? All that. But I think Kuminga's kind of rolled into that mix where he needs to be out there with the right lineup combinations, but also, he kind of needs to, I mean, we talk about it every week, I feel like, but he kind of needs to embrace the role that this team needs him for, which is, rim running. The game he had a couple games ago, where it was transition stuff. It was getting to the rim. It was defense, right? Go be active on Kawhi, be active on Paul George. He didn't foul that night. He rebounded. Well, that's the stuff he needs to do. Whereas I think there's a lot of games, as you know, especially games he goes in knowing, hey, I'm going to get 8 minutes. I'm going to get 12 minutes, which, again, might be tonight because of who's back in the lineup. He kind of either floats around and doesn't do much at all, almost like, Harrison Barnes, Andrew Wiggins type worst games. Or he goes out there like, I'm going to take a couple threes and I'm going to get to my mid-range because why not take a couple shots if I'm going to be out here for 8 minutes?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Anthony, Andrew Wiggins obviously will be back. What's the solution for him? What is it? Because he's been up and down, up and down, up and down. And the freak injury with the slamming his finger in the car door, we know what happened last season. What is going on with him? And is that report? I think we touched on the report last week that the Warriors are maybe unhappy with his physical conditioning coming into the season. But you made a good point that he couldn't really work out due to the rib injury. But how can they really get this guy going? I know it's a question that you hear every single day on Twitter, but really, it's time to get him going.
Yeah, I mean, crazy thing is, the last time we saw him, he was awesome, right? What do you have, 29 in the Sacramento game? He had the tip in. Like, he did seem like he was kind of finding his form. And
Double-double.
Yeah, again, I don't know if you got another graphic stat, ready to go, but I think his last, 7 or so is probably decent. Again, I do think it's.
I'll come locked in here, Slater, with the basketball reference, man, with the last 6 games. So the last 6 games for Andrew Wiggins, 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, 49.5% from the floor, 40% for the three-point line. So what do you know? He's playing better.
Is that? I mean, that's the Andrew Wiggins you need right there. I like that. Just that statistical profile. Like, so I think as long as the finger doesn't really throw him back and really only miss a couple games, and it's a finger, he could still be out there running and stuff. His conditioning should be fine. Like, just keep playing like that, and I think they're okay.
All right, Miami Dolphins, best team in the AFC.
I mean, that's what the standings say right now.
Oh, look at you! Look at you.
I'll just say this: the AFC seems to be crumbling around them. a little bit, right?
Yes,
I mean, like, I don't know what the Lawrence situation is. Obviously, Joe Burrow's out for the year. The Chiefs are look pretty, pedestrian on a weekly basis. Obviously, you guys, I'm sure, would say the Dolphins need to beat somebody who's actually good, which they haven't really done yet.
It's been 2.5 years since a win over a 500 team, but keep going.
Beyond that, this is the one that burns me. It's been since 2001 since they won a playoff game. So that's, am I sitting here ready to call a Super Bowl run? No, but you know what? I'd like to see a playoff win for the franchise. So it looks like they're probably going to get a home game, which is
I know. 3 more quarterback injuries, and you might get that.
Hey, you know what? It's fine. It's going to be proven on the field, right? Isn't that what Hassan Reddick said last week?
See, asking you open that up. Hopefully we see the Dolphins. That'd be fun. Mike McDaniel versus Kyle Shanahan, Las Vegas, Super Bowl.
Oh, they're a fun team.
Allegiant Stadium. Their Hard Knocks is good, too.
They better play at home.
I'm enjoying their Hard Knocks. I'm enjoying the Hard Knocks.
Also, by the way, their last 3 is Ravens, Cowboys, Bills. So
the Raven game a couple years ago was the blow-up game for Tua, though.
Yeah.
He threw for like 8,000 yards.
They came back from a 35-14 deficit.
You never know.
But, and that was in Baltimore, but I thought they hadn't seen anybody good.
It was like 3 years ago.
Oh, no, that was last year.
But they weren't 500 at that point because it was first game of the year.
Because that was week 2.
Yeah, I just go by. I'm very factually correct now that I'm spinning into a journalist.
No, please. You got a long way to go, buddy. Long way to go. Let me tell you that. Slater, I'll see you later at Taste of the Night, man. Thanks for always joining us.
Yeah, see y'all.
See you, buddy.
Right, man. Anthony Slater here at the Border Russell 95. I forgot to ask him about Oklahoma State getting blown out by Texas. Damn, it wasn't even a game.